When I first arrived on campus, I didn't bring much. I had a good amount of clothes, some instant ramen, and absolutely nothing on my walls. I have the current residents of my suite to thank for having a more updated sense of interior design, but at the very least, I had the common sense to do some shopping for school supplies. I went to the campus bookstore and realized I didn't have any pens or pencils. Being a nervous freshman, I went in and essentially blacked out and left with a box of 500 pens. Being my parents' son, I had to go back and make sure I had in fact found the best deal. As my first year went on, I was intentionally careless with these pens, as I thought there was no way I was going to use them all. If I couldn't find the pen I was using earlier, I wouldn't bother to look for it and go grab another. I would lend pens to classmates and not bother to collect them. Hank, I'm still waiting on that pen. These pens moved with me from Glenview for my first year, to co-op my sophomore year, and eventually to Saunders my junior year. My junior fall, I started to realize that I was running low on pens. And imagine how stupid I felt being so loose with them the past couple years. I began to conserve the pens, using them sparingly. Buying pens before the end of college was certainly not an option, and so quickly, my value of the pens had changed. At the beginning of my senior year, I began to unpack the boxes I left in storage during my time spent abroad. In every single box, I found these pens. Suddenly, I felt as though I would certainly have enough to make it through the end of the year, but I had learned my lesson. Each pen was vital. So at this point, you're likely thinking this guy is weirdly obsessed with pens. Pen guy over here, who decided that he should speak? These pens were how I experienced the individual days of the past 4 years here at Hamilton College. My first year, it felt like I had all the time in the world. I couldn't wait for the next day to come when times were good and when they were less so. Come my junior fall, I began to feel like graduation was knocking at my door. I couldn't believe where the time had gone. Then this past year began, and I realized I had more time than I thought. But rather than intentionally losing track of the days and the pens, I began to hold onto them tight before letting each one go for the next. Then the other day, I reached into the box and pulled out the last pen, which I have here now. So over the course of these 4 years, what did I learn? What changed so that I began to savor each and every day? And of course, it was the very first thing I was ever told on campus: be here now. Be here now is the mantra of every student's introduction to Hamilton. We are asked for 1 week to forego society and step into the wilderness. And being from Brooklyn, that was not a familiar nor an exciting idea. But I was lucky. I was able to be here now, and I was fortunate to meet my best friend. But just like comfort on these orientation trips, being present, both physically and mentally, is a privilege. So to be explicit, I want to take an extra moment to celebrate students of color, low-income students, queer students, and those who moved to Clinton, New York, and did everything they could to be here now. I want to take another moment for anyone who has family who couldn't make it here today because of ICE, genocide, or the Trump administration's policy. Those of us who are doing our best to be here now. And finally, for all of us whose parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents made sacrifices so that we could be here now. And I want to take a quick second to thank the people who allowed me to be here now. Dr. Kabul E. Mansour, the DMC, its fellows and organizations. Without all of you, I certainly would not be here now. Marjorie Hurley, Emily Gerard, and everyone at the Wellen Museum, the Sociology and Philosophy departments, Travis Hill, Lisa Grimes, the members of Millbank 36, and most importantly, my parents and my brother. Thank you all. And so here it is, the last pen from my box. It represents 4 years of academic work, the most incredible communities, and trying to know myself. Much like me today, it is 1 out of 500. And this has become a special pen. It certainly has gotten more airtime than any other writing utensil I've ever seen, unless Anna decides to talk about a highlighter for 6 minutes. But this pen marks not only the last day of my 4 years at Hamilton College, but also all the pens and memories I've lost along the way. But I'm going to throw this pen into the crowd right now. And I'm trusting that if I do, the Hamilton College class of 2026 will hold on to it tight, remember today, and strive each day to be here now.